But it's an entirely different ballgame when it's your baby brother or sister. By year 4, we thought we'd gone through the worst of it. But that's always when life wants to chin check you a bit. This was back when the nest first popped up and we were making the journey over. We gotten stuck trekking through a heavy storm. Lightning zapped a tree and it came tumbling down. Nels was right below it, but her big brother Bobby shoved her out the way. She trails off and I let her. I know firsthand the sacrifices you make when you're an older sibling. You're surprisingly open about all this. I don't try to hide it, Warren. It was the first time she called me by my own name. The act felt foreign to me. Hiding it doesn't do anyone any good. Everyone here knows what Nails, Stevie, and I had all had to go through to get here. She shifted her gaze from the window towards the location of my bed, her eyes pinning me down with direct contact. The three of us survived and have lived on to tell everyone about Bobby, Mama, and Margot. You're keeping their memory alive. Chiny nods her head. And we can only do that by talking about it. Bingo. China gives me a soft smile as she begins on her sweater once more, seamlessly weaving in teal and indigo lines of thread into the unfinished garment. We don't say anything for a while, a comfortable silence settling into the room, disrupted only by the occasional clink of China's needles. I mull over her words, the stories of how her mom, brother, and baby sister met their demise, and I think on it after that. I think on that for a bit. It's hard losing family, especially in a situation like this. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of my mom and pops, it still hurt when I had to say goodbye to them. My mom took herself out early in the first year. After about 2 weeks of barricading the house down, she downed the last 7 Valium tablets she had left, chased it with an entire bottle of wine. If I didn't know any better at the time, I would assume she fell asleep and slipped away in the night. I hated her for a few years, cursing her name for leaving me, for abandoning Victor. But after some time, I realized it was better this way. She wasn't a fighter, and I can't fault her line of thinking. Hell, if I could go back and end it all before it really began, I would. My pops was a fighter, though. He wanted to go down swinging. Our house became overrun, and we didn't have much room to escape. We held our ground as best we could, but we both knew the clock was winding down. I remember how Pops handed me his rifle and made a beeline for the riverbank. I didn't know where the grenades came from or how he acquired them in the first place. But once the explosion rang out, I knew he had already figured out he wasn't going to make it further in this world torn asunder. He bought me some time to grab the family pickup and get the fuck out of there. All the shitty things he did aside, I owe that man my life, whether I want to admit it or not. China remembered my comment about my mother not lasting long either, and she started asking me questions as to the status of my family. I gave her the quick rundown of it all, not bogging her down with any of the gritty details. Our conversation eventually shifted to other things aside from our dead loved ones, like how long she's been a part of the nest, how she came to oversee the infirmary after the former director learned she was pre med in college. I was getting to know a person after 8 whole years of avoiding others every chance I got. It felt surprisingly good, refreshing even. We managed to pass the time rather quickly, with China's pager ringing as she goes to retrieve it from her pocket. Well, shit. Looks like we're ready to reel you out and get your screenings done. That time already? It appears so. She fiddles with her pager a bit, slipping it back into her pocket, slowly putting her knitting materials away. Can you teach me? I blurted out. I'm not even realizing where the question came from. Teach you what? To knit. I say, the desire to learn A complete left turn. China lets out a soft giggle at my proposal. I'm a lousy teacher, but I can show you a thing or two. I fall into an easy smile that at that. The proposition of spending more time with her filled me with something I hadn't had in over a decade: excitement. But even with the excitement bubbling within me, there is something bothering me. China, she hummed an acknowledgement. Hmm? Why did you tell me all of that? When I asked you earlier, you didn't want to go into it. What changed? Her back was to me. She was unfolding the sheets in the dresser next to where she was sitting, getting them prepped for when I get back from screenings. You and John, like, you and John argue like him and Vix do. After what he said to you, I felt like you need to hear about someone who's faced it all head on. I turned her words over in my head a bit, not outright seeing the parallels of her story and mine, or the parallel between me and my brother arguing with John. Why would John be arguing with my brother? I mean, it's not too common of an occurrence, but they have their moments. Their moments. Since you showed up, Vix has been on edge more than normal. So right now, it's an exception, China stated. But on a regular basis, it's just a typical lover's quarrel. Huh? Did I hear that right? Lover's quarrel? Lover's quarrel? What the fuck does that mean? Uh-oh, Spadudios. China's face, China whips around to face me. Surprise etched into every inch of her face. Wait. Her eyes don't leave mine as our faces mimic each other's complete and utter shock. You don't know? Know what? Uh-oh, Spadudio. He's about to find out that his brother's getting down with the director. Uh-oh, somebody's in trouble. Hello, Brian J. How are you? So before we go to chapter 5, we're gonna talk a little bit, yeah? We're gonna talk about how we feel about this chapter. Jess, you heard me reading. How you feel about it? Think it's pretty good? Yeah. Pretty good? Yeah. Well, I like the fact that Rico gave us a little bit more insight into China. We kind of learned how China, got most of her family to the nest. Her mom just, gave up. That's kind of sad. We learned about Warren's family too, how his mom passed and how his dad, pretty much gave his life to protect Warren, and how Warren has a tendency to abandon ship when things get a little bit too rough for him. You know what I'm saying? Talk about these characters. Let's talk about the characters a little bit. I'm sure Rico would like to hear some assessments or some insight into characters. People that I like. I like China. I like China. China straightforward, but she also like Warren. I think Warren and China like each other. You think they gonna get together? Yeah, I think they gonna get together. They cute. Ain't they cute, babe? They real cute. I hope they get together. I do. I really do. um, I think Warren is a broken bird. I knew to end it on a joke because of how heavy it was. I think Warren is a redeemable character. I think that he has a lot of love for his brother, but I don't think he truly understands the extent of how his leaving hurt his brother Victor. And I don't think how he understands how his leaving hurt John either. I don't think he understands that. Um, he keeps asking why John is so interested in reviving his brother. Aside from him and his brother having a personal relationship, he would be a shitty friend to not want his friend. Let's go on to the friend side of Victor and John's relationship, right? He would be a shitty friend in person to not want him to repair his relationship with his brother so that he could be a whole person. I understand that people say that you should, automatically cut people off. The new thing is cutting people off and boundaries. But sometimes people get in their own way. And Warren is one of those people. And he just does not know how to maneuver himself so that he can aspire to be better. He just believes that he's damaged goods and that he's better off alone because he won't hurt anyone or he won't get anyone hurt. So he's like, I'm better off by myself. I don't have to worry about anybody. And to an extent, I low key understand why he felt the need to want to be on his own, having to take orders your entire life, having to run with a crew your entire life. And you're like, you know what? Fuck this. The world is already in shambles. I don't want to do this anymore. There are no rules. Let's just go balls to the wall out in the wild. You know what I'm saying? That's cool, but that gets lonely after a while. And I would imagine if this situation ever came up, God forbid, Lord have mercy, please spare us, please. Okay, because we are just 4 months into this fool's presidency, and it'd be only a matter of time before they try to kill us for real. I was like, no, please, just let us breathe. Jesus, please have mercy. Anyway, I would imagine that I wouldn't be able to leave my family like that. I wouldn't be able to do that. I would want us to stick together because I would lose my mind, trying to, know that my siblings or that my mom and my dad, my grandma, my husband, my cousins on his side, his brother, he's like a brother to me, my mom on his side of the family, his dad, his stepdad. I have so many family members that I would want to make sure is okay. I would want to make sure they're all right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like Warren's character, I understand his plight, but he relishes, well, he lives in this world of self-punishment. And I feel like this, I hope, reading into the next chapters or however Rico decides to write it. And I don't want my assessment to influence your writing, Rico. You write it however you feel you please. But I would hope throughout the book that he begins to grow and change, and the relationship between he and Victor grows and changes, because while Warren is broken, so is Victor. And even though we haven't heard a lot from Victor these last couple of chapters, Victor also has to learn how to listen. And I think that's his biggest issue, is that he doesn't listen. And John is the only one of the three who has a level head and is willing to hear each side out. Like, sometimes you have to fight it out in order to get it out. You know what I mean? So I'm very curious about that, but I like China. China's my girl. Um, I'm still on the fence about Georgina, but that bitch petty. I want y'all to understand that she real petty. Because she didn't have to mention that lady name. None of that shit. The last time she talked to John, she real dirt. She real disrespectful. She real disrespectful, honey. Okay. All right. Let's get into John's character a little bit. Yeah. All right. Ooh, we getting some more from China in chapter 5. Cool. I love that. Anyway, he said, "Oh, they will both grow and develop. Warren more so in the way you want." Oh, good, because I like Warren, and I feel like he could be a decent person if he really wanted to, and if given the opportunity, he could do better. He just has to want better for himself, and I think that's his only issue, is that he just keeps punishing himself for whatever happened during his stint in the Marines. He keeps punishing himself for it, and at this point, The world is gone to shit, and you might as well forgive yourself, promise to never be that person again, and just move forward. Life lesson 3005. When you fuck up, take accountability, forgive yourself, and proceed forward. Harping on the issue isn't going to change anything, and punishing yourself isn't going to change anything either. Doesn't change the fact that when you fucked up, you fucked up. It definitely doesn't change the person's feelings towards you that you may have hurt or scarred. But taking accountability, making sure they understand that you understand their pain and their hurt, and you're actively working to ensure that you regain their trust again, is the best place that you can start. That's called being a good person. That's called being healed. Okay. That's called growth. Okay. Now, the only thing I don't like about John is he's very naive. At least he comes across that way. And I don't like the fact that they didn't tell Warren that he was with him, that him and Victor is together. Cause now, child, that man know. And he like, what the fuck? You fucking my brother. I'll be like, where you at? Like, well, your ass wasn't around. Shit. Look at him. I'm petty as hell. I'll be like, just look at him. Shit. What you want me to do? I just wanted you to take care of him. I didn't want you to be dicking him down. Well, I got me a piece and then I kept that piece. What you want me to sell you? I takes real good care of him. I really do. Ask him. Oh shit. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. Any whoosies. Is everybody ready for chapter 5? Hit it 5. All right, let's see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. Yeah. Okay. She ready. Chapter 5 is China Cartwright. So we are at China's point of view. I like her. So we finna get into it. Nancy and I handed Warren off to the power tech so they could run the necessary tests and screenings to see how bad his wounds were. He was an interesting guy. Whole lot of mystery surrounding him, but he seemed quite genuine. His presence adds a unique atmosphere to the nest than I've seen before. Mainly how it divides John and Victor. Your boyfriend not liking your family is pretty standard, but your boyfriend liking the family you hate is a twist I was not expecting. Janice and the Crows have definitely been having a field day with all of this. Them old heifers sprouting all types of nonsense and hysteria to anyone with ears. He kind of weird, isn't he? Nelsie comments. Weird is not the word I would use. He's definitely something to have the lovebirds going at it. I winced before amusing all a roll of my eyes, still reeling from the uncomfortable conversation I just had with Warren. They're not going at it. Nelsie, they're just probably trying to figure out how to deal with it. And they're still dealing with it by going at it. Always a snarky one Nelsie is. She's always been having a field day with this. I don't think I've heard Stevie complain about her badgering like this since, well, I don't know when. Go bother Steve about this. I can take care of this cleaning. You know all she's going to do is send me back to you. Yes, but walking there and back will occupy you for the next 30 minutes. Nels lets out an annoyed huff, but makes her way towards the exit anyway. That girl will talk your ear into the ground if you let her. Mama was smart to put her in gymnastics early on to redirect her energy elsewhere. She wasn't the best mom in the world, but at least she knew who we were and how to handle us. Margot was clingy and timid. Nelsie was hyper and jittery. Bobby was too nice and careless. Stevie was reserved and quiet. And I was mature enough to step up when need be. And there was a lot of need for me. Making my trek back to the infirmary, I step outside and immediately put my hood back up. We're only in November and the weather's still plummeting. I guess this is what New Yorkers dealt with in the old days. I just didn't expect autumn to be this cold up north. Try not to think about how they coped with the first few years when the power went out, forced to brace the harsh winters on their own. By the time we got to the nest, they'd already figured out how to get the electricity back up and running. Every building adorned with space heaters and portable AC units as well. It was a hard adjustment for us being back in a community again, but it's been so nice to be taken care of like this. I just wish we all would have been able to see it. I zipped my hoodie up as high as it can go and speed walked the rest of the way to the infirmary. A rush of ecstasy fills me as I'm greeted by its warmth. Making a beeline for Warren's room, I can't help but run through our conversation. Vix rarely spoke about his family, so hearing about them through Warren was interesting to say the least. He was closer to them for sure, but he also had his a certain coldness when discussing them, something I recognized all too well. Finally reaching his room, I get to work on sanitizing the equipment and bed railings. This was always my favorite part of tending to my patients, cleaning up everything, making it as good as new for them when they returned. A presentable and comfortable room always boosted morale. I never got to actually practice medicine before the waste came around, but I was a registered nurse and caretaker, so I'm familiar with the procedures of the trade. It was also calming, and it allowed me to get a reprieve from the constant stream of tasks and just be in my head for a few. After I stripped the bed and replaced the bedding, I went to throw the old sheets on the chair I was sitting in before I was paged. My knitting materials were still strewn across the cushion, a small smile creeping onto my face at the sight. Warren is a man of many surprises, but even I couldn't bank on the interest in knitting for the guy. I wasn't lying when I said I was a shitty teacher. Granted, Nelsie and Stevie made terrible students, but the fact aside, I was not confident in my abilities to teach him. That's if he was serious about wanting to learn. I set the dirty sheets on the dresser, gather my supplies into my rucksack, and once the task is done, I'm able to go ahead and redress the bed and toss the older sheets into the laundry cart outside of the room. The pager in my pocket goes off as I finish up my tidying. It's a page from Nelsie of all people. I mindlessly roll my eyes as I see the code flashing across the screen. 808. Our own personal code. Pagers were used frequently at the hospital. I was an RN at with the various codes that meant specific things. So it was only fitting that I helped institute a pager system with the nest. As much as Antoine and his goons attempted to stonewall anyone with a suggestion, I was thankful that Fitz always made an active effort to hear everyone out during the monthly town halls. He loved the pager idea, and the hospital we cleared had dozens of boxes of pagers stacked to the basement. He even asked for my help in coming up with the codes. With the myriad of codes we came up with, I made sure to reserve one for Nelsie, Stevie, and I to use amongst ourselves. Our mama raised us in a very musical household. She used to work on as a music teacher, and even with the church band we used to go to. 808s were what she called the backbone of a good beat. She had a thing for sturdy foundation metaphors and used them all the time. She constantly talked about how the foundation wasn't strong enough. The song or the idea will never pan out. When I was helping Fitz come up with the pager codes, I knew for my sisters and I, we needed something that would keep us tied together. I shoot Nelsie an 808 code back, pocketing the pager and picking up my rucksack for afterward. Nelsie uses it the most by far, often to frustrating lengths, but she has genuine intent behind it. Steve doesn't use the code as often, but still uses it more often than I thought she would. There's no specific occasion that the code is used for. It's mainly just a ring when you need me type of thing that they can send me or each other. Making the trek to the welding plant, the teeming hustle and bustle of the nest is apparent. Even with the cold weather coming in at full force, people were still milling about the community. Despite the constant jabbering by Antoine's goons and the old crows, life here was pretty comfy. Anything we could ever need or want in this new world is here for us. Fresh food, clean water, warm shelter, functioning plumbing, and warm showers. It was all we heard it would be. 4 years prior, the rain pelted us like rocks at a window with every drop. All of us completely soaked through our raincoats. Harsh streaks of lightning cut through the pitch black sky, briefly eliminating the dread forest as thunderous claps of thunder followed. My rain-soaked boots squelching in the muck, having lost feeling in my feet 2.5 hours ago. I keep an iron grip on Steve's coat, the intense rain threatening to loosen my whitened knuckles that are keeping her upright. I see Steve has a similar grip on her walking stick, the running mud proving to be quite an obstacle as she tries to hobble forward. We're almost there. We have 5 more miles to go. We have to find somewhere to hide out, Bobby. I yelled through the storm. We can't keep going through this weather. But we're almost there, Chi Chi. If we tough it out for a few more hours or so, we can make it. They're not going to make it a few more hours. I gestured towards Steve, her leg injury further aggravated by being cramped in her boot and forced to stand on it when her walking stick slips from the unsteady mud. Nelsie's cold was almost so getting worse, having to brace these nasty conditions. Unable to suppress her phlegm-filled coughs, seeing the state of his sisters, Bobby's demeanor softens a bit. He scans the area behind me before pointing. There's a convenience store down there. I turned to find the store he was pointing at. It was pretty small, green building, smoshed between an empty H&R Block and a rundown Sally's about 100 yards away. Bobby and I shoot each other a knowing look before he picks up Nelsie and we make our way over to the store. The store looks to be relatively intact. Hopefully it hasn't been looted too badly so we can stock up on our dwindling supplies. Steve keeps her grip on my shoulder even after we reach the paved sidewalk. The concrete slabs were cracked and overrun with lush greenery. I remember when Mar went through her hippie phase, practically screaming at anyone who could listen that the earth would take its land back one day. My chest tightens at the memory of her. I'd do anything to see her smug look at all the plant life reclaiming their spot. An increased pressure on my shoulder jolts me out of my head as Steve lets out a stifled yowl. Her walking stick clangles on the ground as her entire body weight presses against me. Her hardened grip causes pain to bloom across my shoulders, no doubt causing some level of bruising. A sharp cry escapes from me. Bobby turning around at the disturbance, concern flashes along as his face as Nelsie lets out a series of coughs that rattle her whole body. Bobby, go and get her inside. Maybe see if there's anything to help the cough. But Steve, we'll be fine. I'll stay with her out here. We can take the rain for a few minutes while you get Nelsie somewhere dry, and then you can come back and help get Steve inside. He hesitates for a few moments, his expression unreadable through the rain, before giving a curt nod and running towards the building. I guide Stevie to the entryway of a dilapidated building, an overhead structure giving us some reprieve from the rain. I hold tight to her as she slowly works her way down to a sitting position, finally able to get off her injured leg. She took a bad fall. We had been trekking through the woods. It's most likely a bad sprain that's been worsened by the conditions of our trip. We've been making our way up to the nest, some community of survivors that popped up a year or so ago. They were all the way up somewhere in New York. So we've been making the journey all the way from West Virginia. It's been a long week, and we're down to the last 5 miles, but it's almost over. Looking back at the store, I see Bob set Nelsie down on her feet while he forces the door open. A few wood chips from the bread frame come falling down with a brief torrent of collected rainwater. He picks up our little sister again and carries her through the door. Through the cracked windows, I see him combing the aisles, Nelsie no longer in his arms. Are we going to make it? The sudden voice startles me. Of course we are. Don't ask no silly shit like that again. Are you just saying that? No, I'm not. You know I can see through BS. I ain't entertaining no foolishness, Stephanie Annabeth. The use of her government name is enough to silence my younger sister. For the time being, she doesn't talk much, but her curiosity is unmatched. We will make it. If not for my sake, then for theirs. For Mama, for Margot. We have to make it. And the life and live the lives we promised we'd live to keep the memory alive. We're all we have left to remember who they were. They down in the boiler room. I flinched slightly at the sudden voice, a frustrating groan escaping from my mouth at the voice's owner. I told you to stop doing that shit, T. Out here scaring people for no reason. TCN lets out a booming laugh in response, clearly enjoying the reaction he was able to get out of me. He tosses his loose locks over his shoulder, the natural light coming in through the skylight glinting off of his 3 gold capped teeth. You done yet? My bad, Chi Chi. But you know you be in your head all the time. So not much I can do about not scaring you. I roll my eyes at his words as I turn towards the direction of the boiler room. TCN, I think that's how you say his name. TCN or TCN. I'm gonna call him T because I be fucking up a name. Y'all know I fuck up a name, okay? The T is still chuckling behind me as I walk off towards my sisters. I swear that boy plays too much, but he is not a bad dude. Nelsie really rocks with him, even though I told her he is too old for her. When will that girl listen? I always forget I need some fucking Dramamine before walking in here. My stomach twists into a knot as the large door of the plant closes behind me. The heavy fumes of metal, gas, and oil surrounding me fully. Weaving through the plant, I eventually make it to the boiler room, and I'm shocked to not only find my sisters, but Victor standing with them as well. He stood firm, hands clasped behind him, legs and shoulders width apart. But his face had a relaxed calmness I don't often see. His stoicism was contrasted by Steve's laid back nature, reclining her stout frame against the wall with her legs crossed and hands crammed in her pockets. Both of them were focused on an enthused nails, telling one of her many jokes, no doubt. The party started without me, huh? All attention towards me as I cut into the conversation. Chai tea, Nelsie exclaims. Our good friend Vicky just decided to stop by. She dramatically drapes her arm over Vic's, giving him an affectionate noogie as he recoils in her grasp. His once calm face now twisting into annoyance at my little sister's antics. Steve merely watches, and on incite, slight bemusement. Sorry. Leave that boy alone, Nelsie. Why'd you page me here? Nelsie untangles herself from Victor. Well, our boy here wanted to talk to you. I feel my face scrunched with confusion as I stare at the 3 people before me. I I just had some questions about our new visitor. He was still rather stoic, but his discomfort was palpable. Me and Stevie still have some more things to get to. It's Stevie and I. All eyes are back on Nelsie at her remark, each stare a variation of annoyance. Yeah. Anyways, so we have more things to discuss, but I can meet with you by the main entrance in 10. Oh, sure thing. I meet his gaze, give him a curt nod before shooting a warm smile at both my sisters. Not too invested in Nelsie's story, I head back towards the main lobby. Entering the massive room, I see T hasn't moved from the room, now busying himself with some type of device while sitting at the reception desk. He's got a plethora of tools scattered across the desk surface, using an L wrench to tighten a screw into place. Do you have a specific area where you can do your work at? T doesn't look up. His focus is unbroken by my return as he peers at the device with his magnifying glasses. I do, but it gets stuffy in there. He sets the device down, pans his head towards me, causing my eyes to be met with a bright light. I close my eyes quickly, put my hand up to shield my face from it as I let out a soft hiss. Oh, my bad, Chi Chi. I hear a soft click. Reopening my eyes, see T sliding his headlamp down to rest alongside his collarbone. So you get stuffy at your workstation, but not in a boring lobby? T merely shrugs at my words. Well, yeah. Plus, I like all the light that comes in. He gestures toward the lobby as a whole. The walls lined with several windows in addition to the skylight. He relaxes his posture, leaning back in the rolling chair while he pushes the floor with his feet to cause a rhythmic swivel of the chair. So I take it you talk with V. I sent him a confused glare. How'd you? He came in asking for you. Obviously, you weren't here, but I knew your sisters were. So you could have told me that it was Victor who was looking for me? It was not my business. It ain't my business, and I'm not about to make it my business either. Well, I can't really argue with that logic. My attention turns to the device on the desk. What you working on now, T? His face quickly beams with pride as he turns toward the object, gingerly picks it up. I'm fixing up a modem. Like for Wi-Fi? Yes. Now that we've got the power lines back up and the electricity going again, we can bring it all back. What are we going to do with Wi-Fi, T? Bring back our favorite TV shows to binge watch? He cackles at my jab. Well, I'm sure we'll all get back to that eventually, but we can at least bring back some data systems, find an easier way to document everything. So you want to bring back Wi-Fi for bookkeeping? It's where we have to start. He gently returns to the modem to its spot on the table, sliding his headlamp back on his forehead. We got to focus on this utility before we have the luxury of using it for comfort again. I hear one of the double doors open behind me, Victor emerging from within. He catches the door as it swings open, pushing it behind him with a fluid motion. AV, T whistles. I kept our girl here occupied while you did all your important stuff with Stevie. Victor cocks his head as he approaches and confused look painted on his scarred face. I didn't ask you to do that. T just shoots the man a warm smile. You don't have to, sweet pea. He caps his word with a wink, earning a subtle eye roll from Victor before he turns his gaze back to me. He begins walking towards the door, turning around to make eye contact with me before pointing his head at the exit and beckons me to follow. Catching up to his stride, he opens the door for me, allowing me through before bringing up the rear. The cold air greets us both. The warmth we enjoy from inside the building is slowly dissipating as Victor steps in front of me. How's he doing? Huh? My brother. How is he? Should it be me asking you questions about your brother and not the other way around? Victor merely waves away my comment. What have you and your sister gathered so far? I cocked an eyebrow at the guy. Surely he can't be asking me this question. You know, you could spare all this hubbub and rigmarole if you just talk to him yourself. But I'm talking to you instead. He tilts his head to the side, his cold and even expression unwavering. So again, what have you two gathered? If I didn't have to respect him, I would smack the shit out of him right about now. Obviously, it's not his fault that he's like this. There have been plenty of people who have endured less than him and turned out far worse. But, and part of my language, mama, he can be a real bitch at times. But it's not my place to question the tensions bubbling between him and his brother. So I unclench my jaw and oblige. The shards of glass that impaled him have left some deep wounds, But ultimately, he's not going to be much long. There's not going to be much long term damage. A slight nod in my direction beckons me to keep going. Not much else to report on other than he should be back up on his feet in a week or two. Once the pain subsides and the entry points stop bleeding. Nell mentioned stitches. The blabbermouth. So you already talked to Nelsie about this? Yes, of course. Then why are you asking me still? He shrugs again, face void of any expression. You're two separate people who have different perspectives, and I see value in obtaining both. My confusion hasn't been eased any, but I take a deep breath before continuing. Yes, three of the pieces were a little more stuck than we thought. The extraction took a bit more effort, but we got them out and sutured them up. His face is unreadable, per usual, but there are some tells that John clued me in on. How he chews the inside of his cheek when he's processing something. His eyes darting around the room means he's debating with himself. And I still don't fully get why John told me all this. He said someone needs to understand what he goes through. But regardless, it's a nifty skill set to have around Victor. John also said it's always best to let him sort himself out. So I leave him be as his eyes continue darting around, the tattoo covering his Adam's apple bobbling up and down. Okay, thank you. Page me if there are any updates. And with that, he walks away. I have no words for the encounter aside from the confused expression. I have no doubt. I have no doubt it's still on my face. And as my gaze is still fixed on Victor's retreating frame. I'm going to reread that because I always end up fucking up when I read something. Let me go back. And with that, he walks away. I have no words for the encounter aside from the confused expression. I have no doubt it's still on my face. As my gaze is still fixed on Victor's retreating frame. With the encounter over, I walk back inside briskly. Once again, T barely acknowledged me, having returned to his work. It's only once I walk past the desk that he speaks up. V, need anything? None that concerns you. The man lets out a soft chuckle, still fully honed in on repairing the motive. You right. Not my business anyway. I leave T to it, making it making my way back to the boiler room. Hearing Nelsie long before I reach the bottom of the stairs, she's animatedly telling Steve something. I think they might be onto something, Steve. I mean, I know what Shy says, but Elaine made a really good point. The name perks up my ears as I swiftly cut Nelsie off. How many times do I gotta tell you to stop listening to them crows? Nelsie jumps back, not having heard me re-enter the room. She stutters for a bit, but clearly her intent was for me not to hear whatever she was saying. She collects herself after a few seconds before continuing. But they're on to something, Chai. I don't want to have want you, I won't have you entertaining those ladies in their ramblings. It's just mindless gossip. But Chai, enough, Nelsie. Janice and them are nothing but bored old women who are desperate to feel important. Pay their gossip and bullshit no mind. I don't know how many times I have to tell this girl to stop listening to them crows. The crows being Janice, Elaine, Gladys, I don't know how to say her name, Shaya, and Tara, a group of women in the nest between the ages of 60 and 75 who just lived to stir shit up. You would think we would revere the elderly who've managed to make it this far, and for the most part, we do. But these women are surviving out of spite alone. They have to be. No other explanation on how any of them have been able to go on this long, as trifling as they all are. I've warned Nelsie time and time again about how those women move, but she still chooses to lap up whatever conspiracy they choose to sprout. Now, Nelsie is telling me that those biddies are saying that Victor brought his older brother out of obscurity to further tighten his grip around the nest. And this all ties into their long-standing conspiracy that Victor will lose his relationship with John to oust him as director and take power for himself. You can't make this up. I look over at Steve, and she just gives a slight shrug and a face that says, "What can you do?" I offer an eye roll and respond, and Nelsie gives a frustrated huff before turning on her heels and strolling out. That girl needs help, Steve chides. Don't I know it? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is chapter 5. Chapter 5. You could have just wrote Tyshawn, Rico. You didn't have to put all that extraness on that child's name. Oh. Why would you do that? I'm so frustrated with you. He spelled, you want to know how he spelled Tyshawn? T-I-I, capital S-I-A-N. You could have spelled Tyshawn. Anyway, hold on. I'm going to show you how you could have spelled it. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get the T. Hold on. Hold. Like, come on now. Come on, Rico. That is Rico. You could have did any this variation. I gave you several. Look at that one. Alina gave you another one. You could have spelled that anyway. How the fuck was I supposed to know that boy's name was Tyshawn? Sirs and ma'ams. I gotta pee. Hell, I'll be back. Rico got me in here.
Still don't know my words, still stressing perfection. Let you all in my mental, got me looking too desperate. Damn, you ain't desired. Honestly, that sound like a fair trade to me. Rolling 80 wheels in a safety. Gotta roll over to you, gotta give a release. Spread your legs down, I'm going out to eat. The raw sounds when I rock up in your sleep. slaps. Don't close your eyes to get away. Just bang my line and I'll arrange it. Beautiful girl, you're stainless. You'll be fine, I'll be painless. Yeah. All I'm drinking is champagne. All you want is the same thing.
Yeah. The 10,000 building, get your ass an apartment, put you inside a G-class, that's just a starter kit. Plenty things count in life, but none of them is the thought of it. New piece around my neck is chess games. Shorty stay with calculated moves like Beth Harmon. Swear I'm more Purple Rain Prince than Prince Charming. Disappointment, I stay expecting it. The pessimist, gold medalists, flush the magnets just so they not collecting my specimens down.
Okay. We about to get back into it. Just give me a second. It's hot in this room, child. I didn't wanna bother Pop. You didn't take that bowl of that pico de gallo out of there. I think mom's meat is spoiled. Put it on the top shelf. Just have to remember it's in there and take it out tomorrow. I need the light. So how y'all feel about the book so far? We just got done with China's chapter.
Still about day for him until May 23rd.
May 23rd.
April 4th. Yeah, her hand is gone though, but turkey is fine.
Okay, so put the turkey in the freezer. Did you open it? It don't look slimy or nothing?
Mm-mm.
You can take the pepperoni out. I'll start working on it.
Downstairs already.
No, hours.
Oh.
I'll start working on it.
Ice cream. That's what I'm making.
You ain't gonna be satisfied with that ice cream.
No, because I won't know. Why is it spoon in it?
Because I was using it to eat my stuff, and I didn't want it to get messed up or what.
So what was for? I put it back.
The peaches you can either put downstairs or give me some of them cheesesteaks.
Looks like my L just got fucking kidnapped.
By who?
The white haired dude that attacked the fucking ship. He attacked Gustav and wounded him. Gustav tried to fight him off. And that's where you had walked in at.
Oh, that's fucked up. It can't go on the second shelf next to the blue bowl. What's on the second shelf?
Pepperoni in the blue bowl.
Pepperoni's down there. I ain't gonna look for it. Thank you. All right. Let's see what these comments is talking about. She said, I once knew a Tyshawn. He spelled it this way. He got arrested in the 7th grade, though. Arrested? Oh, my God. Said Aaliyah, now he got arrested, child. Aaliyah said he got on the 6 o'clock news and everything. Y'all nosy as hell. Look at Brandon. What he do? Why he got arrested? What he do? She said assault, I think. I was like, hold on, I know that guy. Brandon said, oh, okay. Just casual conversation, child, about somebody getting arrested. A mess. That is messy as hell. I don't remember him passing middle school. He wasn't at graduation. Well, damn. My God, today. That is shit tay, honey. Anywhoosies, we are on chapter 6. Oh, we getting it from Victor's perspective. Interesting. Oh, child. I'm going to let y'all get settled again. I want to know what y'all think about the book so far. I'm sure Rico would like to hear your thoughts. So comment below and let me know what y'all think. Did y'all like China's chapter? He gave you a real nice insight into China and her dynamic with her sisters. And some of the dynamic in the nest with some of the people in the nest. I like the way he wrote it. The one thing you have to get used to when you drink LaCroix is the flavor of it. Because you're expecting it to be like at least somewhat sweet, and it's not. But you enjoy the carbonation of it, if that makes sense. It's better than hint water, I can tell you that. But it's still some bland ass static water. Yeah, I like China. Well, that's good. China is my favorite. John is a close second. I like Victor. I just think Victor is a little stuck up. Which this chapter It's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, it did. I like China because she remind me of myself. I really like her. And I like Warren. I think her and Warren would be cute together. I thought they had a little playful banter. They were going back and forth. I was like, ooh, look at that. The families, they're getting together. It was cute. Why he want one? He want one?
I don't know. What did you do there?
You want one, Pop? You can have one. Okay.
What's it there?
All right. I was gonna say she reminds me of you. The amount of siblings she has, for example. Yeah, I'm blessed that all of mine are still living, thank God. Oh Lord. Only difference is I'm a middle child. So I think I'm a combination of China and Nelsie, but I am a middle child. I am gossipy like Nelsie is. I am, but I do have a assertive nature or a nurturing nature to be at the forefront of my family. That's just natural for me. I can't really explain it. My older sister is an older sister for sure. She has her moments where she can, lead the charge, but a lot of the times the directions come from me. Those are nasty. Throw them away. Them are disgusting. The cones are like, yeah, the cones for it are soggy.
I think that one was a bad batch.
No, fuck you. I ain't going to shit no more. Fucking assholes. The whole box. I thought it was just one. But the whole box was nasty. I was like, how dare you disrespect me like this? How dare you? Anyways, if you're just joining us, hi. We're at the 2 hour mark, and I think I'm going to end on chapter 6 because one, Rico hasn't finished chapter 8, and we're at 2 hours. But if you are just joining us, we are doing reading and chill. We are reading Where the Dead Still Walk by one of my fams. And we are on chapter 7, which is titled Victor Vix Soto. Now, we already gone over what the book is about. The book has to deal with the post-apocalyptic world and everybody living in that post-apocalyptic world. And of course, the waste, aka the zombies that live in this world. That's not what I said, Rico.